1977 became the age of retirement of George Foreman. The 28-year-old heavyweight who lost the fight to Muhammad Ali suddenly had an upset against Jimmy Young. The fighter with a record of 45 victories and 2 losses, a lot of knockouts, decided to hang the gloves, but suddenly returned back in 1987 at the age of 38, the age when Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson left the ring with bitter losses. George Foreman just started his second career, because the 70s and 80s are completely 2 different eras of boxing. Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson were changed to the new generation of boxers, like Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Tommy Fury, Lennox Lewis, and with the new generation of boxers who made 24 fights winning streak and became the oldest heavyweight champion in boxing history. Usually the fighter is returning on the ring at a very old age because of money, not because of continuing their careers. Muhammad Ali decided to stop after the fight against Leon Spinks, 1978. Muhammad Ali was 36 years old, but because of the debts, Muhammad Ali was forced to return back in the age of 38. And that fight was terrible when Larry Holmes defeated Muhammad Ali and he even couldn't continue the fight after the 10th round. Mike Tyson did the same thing when he returned at the age of 38 as well because of debts and the last fight against Kevin McBride. He lost it because he didn't want to continue. Today's fighters can make their exhibition bouts because of money. When in 2006 Mike Tyson tried to make the exhibition fight, it was completely failed and the world tour was cancelled. Floyd Mayweather returned at the age of 40 as a professional against Conor McGregor, who wasn't dangerous for him. But in 2023, Floyd Mayweather made a terrible show when he fought against Aaron Chalmers. Their fighting card and the rest were terrible as well. When George Foreman returned in the ring, it was a fight against Steve Zauski. George looked different, like an old fat man, but when he knocked out Steve at the 4th round, he made a sensational returning. He fought the same year, 1987, 5 times, and every single fight was ended by knockout. But all the next year, 1988, George Foreman fought already 9 times, almost every single month, and every single fight, the victories in the first rounds. The same journey he continued even in 1989 and the 1990s, when the stars like Mike Tyson, Tommy Morrison and Evander Holyfield appeared on the ring. And when George Foreman turned 42 years old, he finally got his undisputed title shot since 1974 when he fought with Muhammad Ali. The fight against Evander Holyfield, WBA, WBC and IBF titles on the line. Evander Holyfield was young, undefeated and undisputed champion in the heavyweight, 28 years old, 26 victories and no losses. But the way of his fight left a lot of questions about the legitimacy. Evander Holyfield is the dirtiest boxer of his era, the fighter who clashed the heads, who clinched their opponents, and the referees even didn't reduct the points. And even the famous story when Mike Tyson bit his ear, he has done that only because of Holyfield's dirty boxing. But George Foreman was a knockouter and everybody wanted to know how George Foreman would work in that fight with a fighter who loves dirty boxing. Suddenly, Evander Holyfield started to jump around Foreman. The fighter who lost his best years decided to work economically. Of course, Holyfield is trying to slow down Foreman more, and from the first hard punch, Holyfield started to turn on his habitual thing by grabbing the head. Foreman, who's moving slow, even could do nothing. That would happen exactly at the middle of the fight when Holyfield jabbed out Foreman's head. And when George started to attack a little bit, of course, Holyfield turned on the dirty boxing. In the 10th round, we can see clearly how Foreman is striking the shot and Holyfield wrestling him, and instead of taking out the points, the referee is raising the hand of George Foreman. The crowd booed at Holyfield, but Evander extended the record and received his first loss only in 1992 after the record of 28 victories. Riddick Bowe, who knew how to work with dirty boxer. George Foreman continued to win and defeated 3 more fighters. The fight with Alexander Sturt was ended by majority decision. In 1993, George Foreman received the chance to fight for the #1 gold. The fight for the vacant WBA heavyweight title against the prospective heavyweighter Tommy Morrison. Tommy Morrison was a prospective heavyweight fighter, fully musculated, looks like a model, even was an actor in Rocky V. Of course, the promoters decided to make another one Mike Tyson from him, but unfortunately, he lost the fight to Rain Mansa in the 5th round. Despite that, he dominated all part. And when Mike Tyson was imprisoned, they decided to make a superstar from Tommy Morrison #1, a synonym of boxing, like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson. In 1993, Tommy Morrison faced George Foreman for the WBO heavyweight title. George Foreman was 44. Everybody started to love how easy George will be for Tommy Morrison. George Foreman showed his big defense, but he's holding all punches on Morrison and Tommy is stepping back. He can't attack so confidently how he did in previous title fights. The shocking moment was when Morrison tried to strike serious and Foreman just stood on his feet. And at the same round, Morrison was rocked. And the same continued during the next rounds. George Foreman lost the fight by unanimous decision, but right after that fight, Tommy Morrison started to lose his youth appearance. He left a lot of health in that fight, and because they're good looking, the matchmakers decided to give him another title shot for the WBA and IBF titles. George Foreman was already 45 years old. He went against Michael Moorer, the fighter who just defeated Evander Holyfield by majority decision. Of course, there were a lot of dirt in that fight. Everybody thought that 45 years old Foreman would lose for 100% in that fight with that monster. It was 1994. The fight has started really slow. Both fighters didn't move and just striked each other. Here, Foreman looked awful. You can see even how Michael made a lot of combinations. But here, Foreman is even not moving like in the fight with Tommy Morrison. The question time was in which round Michael will drop Foreman. But suddenly, Michael Moorer got tired in the 5th round because Foreman held all punches and the way of the fight started to change. Despite that Foreman is not moving, he's striking hard, and Moorer is missing a lot. And in the 10th round, George Foreman finally dropped Michael Moorer. George Foreman became the oldest heavyweight champion in the history, and nobody beat his record. He won that title being a 45 years old fighter and defended it till the age of 48. Despite that, he vacated the title. He was a champion of WBU, not the main federation but also very respectful, and only in 1997, with a record of 76 wins and 5 losses, he lost the fight to Shannon Briggs by majority decision, and finally, the legend decided to hang the gloves. That's how George Foreman quit the sport at the age of 28, decided to become a priest. But at the age of 38, he decided to return in the ring when the fighters are usually hanging the gloves. He became a champion at the age of 45, fought till the age of 48. Later we'll see the desire like Bernard Hopkins who fought till the age of 50 years old, being professional. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones will return in the ring as well, being the age of 50 for the exhibition bout. George Foreman is an example how to make impossible possible. Countless Sony pictures are making the film about George Foreman, the fighter who inspired a lot of fans to start boxing and to never give up during their journey.
Now, I was given 3 minutes to introduce a man, a myth, and a legend. We all know George Foreman has a wonderful family. They had a nickname called the United Nations, but we ain't gonna discuss that. They used to have a theme. That they would say among themselves. We're Calvin's kids. We don't die, we multiply. We're Calvin's kids. But with that being said, that if George Foreman can give up a lifetime dream and become the world's heavyweight champion of the world and put it aside to teach us about the Heavenly Father, it doesn't get any better than that. I'm going to bring up the man, the myth, and the legend, George Foreman.
Hall of Fame ring from Fred Cuellar Diamond Cutters International. And Fred will show you the ring you're getting. And Calvin, that's a heavy trophy, isn't it?
Oh, unbelievable.
There's the ring. George,